Hello, friends. It's your friend Lee. Good day to you. Sunny out. I'm outside. Neighbor is doing his neighboring things. So the Sea Otter Classic is running right now out in California. I've been to the Sea Otter Classic as an athlete many, many, many times. I started going to the Sea Otter, it would have been early 90s, right? And the marquee event at the Sea Otter Classic is the dual slalom. It is just a beautiful event. You can see it all over Pink Bike, all over the internet. It's awesome. It's really fun to watch, and it's profoundly fun to do. And excuse me, I got eye boogers. And it's freaking fun to do. And I just, when I started riding in '88, my fitness came on pretty fast. So I became a pretty solid endurance athlete quickly. But the skills took a lot longer, and I was just so compelled to learn those skills. Like my buddies, we built up, like we found like a 14-inch like girls hardtail, made a slalom bike, and practiced and built trails and tried so hard. But even then, it took me many years to qualify for the beginner class. And back then, the fields were enormous. I remember, so they take 32. I remember qualifying 100 and something, 90 something, 80 something. I qualified 33rd one year, and I was like, oh my God, 33rd. And it took me a long time to qualify in the position of 32. And what's interesting about Sea Otter Classic, it's a big deal. It's like the biggest race in North America. At least back then, it was very, very common that these pro BMX guys would come in and race the beginner class to sandbag. I mean, a lot of the pro BMX guys like Brian Lopes were racing pro and winning, but some of them came in and raced us software nerds in the beginner class and sandbagged. And that's how it was. And I remember the very first year I qualified 32nd. Oh my God. I was so happy. I was so excited. And I go to the top, and if you qualify 32nd, you race against first, the fastest person, who happened to be a guy named Eddie Cerrone, who was a well-known pro BMX racer, high-level BMX racer. And I knew who he was. And, and so we're getting in the gate, and I'm a nervous guy, and I'm talkative, we're getting in the gate, right? And I go, hey, man, are you ready to participate in the greatest upset in sports history? And he goes, huh? And he's just sort of like, huh? I go, yeah, man, like, everybody knows who you are. You're like this amazing BMX guy, right? And I'm just like another schlub. But what's going to be cool is you're going to make a mistake, and I'm not, and I'm going to advance. And it's going to be inspiring to everybody. And he looks at me, and he goes, I've been racing 24 years. I don't make mistakes. So when smack talk goes wrong, the gate drops, and I took off. Oh, man, I took off. I was on it. I was sprinting and braking and turning and doing the things. And he was nowhere to be seen. I was like, no way, Lee, you're doing it. You're doing it. This is inspiring. And it came around to 180. And there he was, right on my shoulder, sitting down, coasting. And he looks at me and he basically goes, come on, sweetie. And he took a half a crank, and just that was it. It was it was profound. I was like, damn, I might be the fastest guy I know, but I'm not the fastest guy. Hell no. So, fast forward, that would have been mid-90s. And so then, I had a career as a downhill racer guy and became a coach and the shoulders and all the things. But slalom I could do because it felt more controlled the downhill. So the past few times I've gone to Sea Otter, I've raced the slalom. And I've done it on a trail bike. As far as I know, I was the first one to ever do it on a 29er at that level. And now I'm in the the expert 50 plus class, which is basically vet pro. So this class has the guys who used to be the fast pros. So like last time out, I got third. And Mark Garcia won it, and he won it in 1988 against the world champion Greg Hairbull. I've raced against Wild Bill, a lot of the people I really looked up to when I came up in the sport. And, and a lot of those guys, when they were in their 20s, they had talent, and they were fast, and that's what you were seeing. But, you know, we all age differently. And most of those guys are kind of going downward. Where me, I wasn't cursed with that kind of talent. I wasn't. And so it's been a hell of a process. But I'm going upward. And now I meet these guys, and I hang very well, and I generally beat them fair and square. And it's quite the pro. I remember I was going to face Wild Bill once in like the round of 4. And I was walking back up the hill crying. I was like, I cannot believe I'm racing Wild Bill. If you're watching this, Wild Bill, you're going to laugh because we've known each other forever. We're peers, right? But, you know, you were a fast NorCal pro when I was a slow beginner, and I looked up to you, and I still look up to you. Keep it up. So I'm like, Lee, all you got is 2 30-second runs. Hold it together, you know? And I raced him. I'll never forget that. And I beat him fair and square. And we crossed the line, and that man, God bless him, shook my hand. He said, those were good runs, bro. Go get them in the next run. And the next run, you know, I made a mistake. I got second. But so I've got a handful now of podium finishes at the Vet Pro Sea Otter Classic. And so I love doing it. It's fun. I see my students out there. One year, no, it was right after that run with Wild Bill. I hear this screaming, and I look, and it's a kid named Evan Powell, who I coached when he was a kid. And he's running down. And when he used to race, I would push his bike up the hill for him, for slalom, right? He runs down the hill. He's like, that was the sickest shit I've ever seen. And he pushes my bike back up the hill. It's awesome. And I love that race. And I love what it means to me. And it's a real show of my progress as an athlete, right? That I've gone from can't hang in the beginner class to absolutely hanging, you know, as a vet pro. So, you know, right now I'm 3 weeks away from going to Australia. So I'm not at Sea Otter. But, you know, I can't help myself. So I checked the results. And that class was won by Mr. Eddie Cerrone. So Eddie Cerrone has gone ahead and upgraded to the expert class for mountain biking. And I couldn't help but think, how epic and poetic would it be to get in the gate with that guy again and say, hey, Eddie, I know you don't remember me, but you're going to participate in history. That would have been fun, right? And either way it goes, it is cool. And I just think this whole thing is neat. And, you know, mountain biking's beautiful. It's joyful. It's hard. And what I'm finding is, like, I've had every chance to give up. Man. I've woken up in a creek with a concussion and almost drowned because I hit a tree in a race run. I was going to buy a bass boat and call it. I mean, I've almost gotten out of biking several times over the years, but for some reason I've been compelled to stay in it. And here we are, and it just gets better and better and better. And I'm sure every yogi would say the same thing. Every fly caster, every fly tire would say the same thing about their craft. So I guess I feel like I have to give lessons. Not that anyone needs to listen to me, but I'll just encourage my friends out there, right? Whatever excites you, do it. Give it everything you have. And then be cool with whatever happens. And my friends, I'm going to take that lesson to Cannes because I'm racing the Downhill World Championships in less than a month. Yeah. 20 years ago I went. I felt like an imposter. I choked. I got 8th. I'm going back as a new man. I'm no imposter. And we'll see what we get. I'm a freaking stoked, friends.